I have a fear of going to the police for good reason, especially in this town and especially in Boulder. Toby Smith, he didn't agree with me going to the cops about all this. He's kind of the same frame of mind as a lot of other people. It's something should be taken care of in house. However, Toby Smith was getting stalked by Sandy Fromm, and it was bad enough. And yes, I can testify to that, and I'm willing to. I mean, fuck, this dude was willing to fucking commit felonies. Willing to commit felonies to keep me safe. If I was to say there was any one person who was, that'd be Toby Smith. I called him Uncle Tobe for years. There's a reason for that. When everybody else was fucking bullshit, there was Toby Smith. When everybody else was drama, there was Toby Smith. When everybody else was wallowing in sorrow, there was Toby Smith. When everyone's life is going to hell, there's Toby Smith. When you need a break from hell, there's Toby Smith. So, now that I don't hang out with Toby Smith, it was some very scary times, and he wanted me safe. He didn't offer to do the things that he offered to do out of maliciousness, but also there's the fact that there's rule number one. Yeah, when you're a biker, it's kind of the same as being homeless. You don't fucking call the police. You don't fucking call the police. Hey, you don't call the police. Well, Sandy Fromm is a fucking nut job psycho. She's not allowed to own firearms because she's been in mental institutions, and she is taking psychotropic medications. But she does have access to guns. Also, in the entire time I have known her, she has not gotten off of that Toby Smith case. Seriously, she is a fucking nut job. She is obsessed with Toby Smith. Everything in her life revolves around Toby Smith. What does Toby Smith like? How can I get what Toby Smith likes so I can go see Toby Smith? How can I try to finagle myself through the door because I want to go see Toby Smith? I want to know who Toby Smith is hanging out with. Will you drive me by Toby Smith's? Yeah, she is a very scary stalker. Very scary. But also, she has firearms. That makes her even more scary. The thing that I look at, though, is the fact that she hasn't killed anybody. Despite the fact that she is a complete and total wingnut fucking nut job who is not allowed to own firearms, she is a semi-responsible gun owner. None of her guns have gun locks on them, but none of them are loaded either. Not unless she thinks her brother's coming by. She loves her brothers, but one of them, if he comes by, she won't come outside. First thing she does is goes and finds a firearm and starts loading it. It's fucking scary. She straight up wants to fucking blow her brother's brains out because he's always trying to control her or such a thing like that. He's always trying to undermine her and underhand her. And she was doing the same thing with them. She wanted to sneak some newly born calves off the place before her brother went out there and realized they were there and tagged them. She was looking for bulls that, if they hadn't been clipped and didn't have anything on their ear, then it meant that her brother hadn't been out there yet. I didn't find that out until afterwards. What I knew originally is that we were out there and we were looking for the ones that didn't have a tag on their ear and counting them. Well, I'm not a farmer. I didn't realize that she was stealing her own cattle because she wanted to go to auction with them and rip off her own family. This is the lady that I was telling you all about, that when I was out there, and by the way, conversations with her are recorded on here. I was at her place when Chris Kurth was out there with her farmhand threatening to kill me. And Floyd Stegeman was there, and Chris Stegeman was there. Chris didn't really know much. He wasn't there for much of it. He showed up there. He was there for a couple of minutes. And then I got into the vehicle with him and we left. Thank goodness for Floyd making that phone call. I'd have been fine with those two bastards shooting me in the head. I was not okay with them doing that over there in front of fucking Floyd and Sandy. Not fucking cool. And then later on, Sandy threatened to kill me over a situation that had nothing to do with me. It had something to do with her and Chris and Tobe from some comment that may or may not have even happened years ago. I wasn't fucking there. I don't know. What I do know is that Floyd came down on me because of it, and Chris came down on me because of it, and Sandy came down on me because of it, and a mutual friend that me and Sandy have. Well, same thing there too. Came down on me because of it, like it was my fucking fault. Like, hell no, I didn't ask for none of this fucking bullshit. What's this got to do with me? Like, yeah, if there's something that you're telling me somebody did something illegal and you want me to go in with you to talk to the police, make a report, you ask, I'll fucking do it. It's that fucking simple. It is that goddamn easy. Just fucking ask. That is something that everybody should have the right to. Even me. If I'm not willing to fight for your rights, how can I expect anyone to fight for mine? Yeah, Sandy Fromm has done a lot of fucked up shit. There are a few things, though, that, yeah, she did pretty well get screwed. If she needed me to testify in court about those situations, I would do so. All she would have to do is ask. Because despite the fact that she has done so much fucked up and wrong shit to me, that doesn't justify turning a blind eye to the fucked up shit that happened to her. She doesn't fucking deserve that shit. And yeah, it sucks that she wants to take that shit out on me. It sucks that Floyd took that shit out on me. It sucks that Chris took that shit out on me. That shit does fucking suck. On the bright side, I got 3 of the 4 of those people fucking on tape admitting it. So there is that. I'm no fucking dummy. I'm overwhelmed. Toby Smith is somebody that, because of at that time I was going through some very traumatic shit, it scared the fuck out of me. It really did. And I stopped calling him Uncle Tobe. But you know, out of all of those people that fucking came down on me, like whatever the fuck Sandy was going off about was my goddamn fault. Toby Smith never came to me and made fucking an issue about it. He never come up to me like I'm trying to fucking put all that drama that had nothing to fucking do with me in his fucking court. If Toby Smith asked me to fucking testify about fucking Sandy and all the times that we drove around his house and the amount of times that she asked to go by his house and the amount of times that I said no, you know what I'd say to Toby Smith? I'd say, not only will I testify, I got the shit on fucking tape. No goddamn joke. Probably 30 full hours of Sandy. Fucking Toby, 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 Toby. Yeah. Now, while Toby is mad at me because I talked to the police, rule number one, right? Rule number one, you don't talk to the police. He's mad at me about going to the police because of rule number one. And I have probably thousands of stalkers at this point. And he called the sheriff because he's got one. It's different when you're disabled. I fucked up my back. It's not easy to fucking defend myself. It's not easy to get around most days. A lot of days I can pretend like I'm a real working man for a couple of full hours. I feel like a fucking pro. I mean, it's all really light stuff. But afterwards, I might not be able to stand up for a day. It might be all I can do to fucking get to a bathroom. Toby had a stroke. He didn't ask to have a fucking stroke. He has the consequences of having a fucking stroke. Sure enough, he can't defend himself from Sandy Fromm. Are you fucking kidding me? No way in hell. But she ain't the only witness either. Train, there were a lot of other witnesses who were aware of what Sandy Fromm was doing, and they said nothing and did nothing. And I recorded that too. Shit, if Tobe Smith called me right now and said, "Hey, Sean, you think you can march over here with all that?" I'd be like, "Yeah, I can do that." If you said, "Hey, I want to know who all was involved in this stalking shit because it was more than just Sandy," I'd be like, "Yeah, I know who." I assure you many did, but I also assure you, Tobe, that most of them did not do it willingly. Many of them did not know what was going on. When I was in the vehicle with her after her threatening my life, I was driving her because she was fucking drunk. And despite repeatedly being pulled over and told about drinking and driving, especially here in town, she proceeds to continue to do it. And she's mean when she's drinking that fucking tequila. She's real mean. She's having fun. Nobody else is. And the idea of them diagnosing her as schizophrenic, she's not fucking schizophrenic. She's not. When she is drunk on tequila, she exhibits schizophrenic tendencies, or possibly even schizophrenic ideations. But when she's not drunk, she's not like that. And I can testify to that too. She is still a fucking psycho who is stalking Toby Smith when she's sober, though. When I spent my birthday at her beck and fucking command, starting the day before, because that mutual friend, like, she's fucking making his life hell, making his life hell, making his life hell. And she's over there drunk, fucking throwing a fit, screaming at me at the top of her lungs in the middle of the fucking street. And that guy, he didn't have to fucking deal with it. He shouldn't have had to, and thank goodness I was able to defuse the situation. I'm pretty fucking good at it. Consequently, I spent my birthday driving her around. And it's always the same thing. She's in love with Toby Smith. The only thing she ever says that she likes about him is the dick. That must be some prime fucking real estate. I mean, to be that desired, even after having a stroke. As a guy, I'm supposed to give him props for that. That's the proper thing to do in the United States. Like, way to go. But yeah, I don't give a shit about sex. Whatever, dude. I've got hours and hours and hours of her just basically perving out on Tobe, perving out on basically whoever. I even got at least 3 conversations where she was talking about how she wants to steal Hecky's wife from him and how she's gonna fucking convert her to lesbianism and how somebody needs to this and somebody needs to that with him. And I'm like, oh my God. Like, lady, please. I don't. You're mean. You're fucking mean, Sandy. But I do have enough evidence for a good, solid conviction based on real, actual evidence. Sandy Fromm was not pushed, threatened, harassed, or intimidated into any of the shit that she did. She wasn't coaxed into it. It wasn't people pretending like she was only after sex. No, it's fucking recorded. Yeah, that's all she was after. That's all she cared about with him. Other than that, she didn't like a single thing about him. So why is she so obsessed with him? Is the dick really that important? Well, to her, it is. For a lot of years, she was very pretty. She was what, and a lot of these people, I record them, saying these things that she was movie star pretty. These are a lot of older people. Like, yeah, dude, she was movie star pretty growing up. She was used to getting all of the fucking attention. When she sees somebody else getting the attention, it comes out immediately. Her jealousy now. Like, a lot of people were jealous of her growing up, I'm sure. Like, the dude up there who's our mutual friend, he talks about her at the pool. How she was movie star pretty, and so on and so on and so on. And a lot of other people in town too saying that. The issue with Chris, when all of that fucking fight started, was because she wasn't getting the attention. One of the ladies who works at the bar was. And she didn't fucking like that. And also the lady who worked at the bar, she was being really super nice to everybody there. She was trying to ignore Sandy. She was trying to do her part and do her job. And even though Floyd had been down there like a week earlier and thrown a big goddamn tantrum because he never tips, he asked, do I tip? And they told the truth. They said, no, you never tip. And he threw a tantrum at them. This is a grown man who is a grandfather. And all of this, Toby Smith is the only fucking adult. He's the only one who's not a goddamn antagonist. Like, yeah, he's going through the same shit as me, just on a much smaller fucking level. At least when he called the cops, they showed up to help him. At least it was just one person. At least Toby Smith wasn't homeless when it fucking happened. You know, it'd be fucked up karma, is if Sandy Fromm got on Craigslist, got somebody to kill her the way that Natalie did, and Toby Smith got blamed. He ain't got much in the way of family, and I don't know how well that would go by. I would think that his daughter would be there for him. I would be. I don't agree with his original assessment because we need the laws to change. A lot of these criminals, they're criminals because they know the law is ineffective. If somebody rapes their wife or their daughter, they have to go out and get the justice themselves. A lot of people tried to go to the cops and got victimized, and that's why we got rule number one: never go to the police. Never go to the police. Never go to the police. There's a lot of women, they know rule number one. A lot of homeless women know rule number one. They know what happens if they go to the police. They get treated like the male homeless. We don't fucking care. You're homeless. You're not paying taxes. And some of them women are paying taxes. Some of them women have fucking jobs. They're just not getting paid enough. If you're living in an area that has homeless services, you're probably living in a city. Because, first of all, everywhere else you go, they're just trying to run you off. They want you elsewhere. They want you elsewhere. They want you elsewhere. The cops don't want to fucking deal with you. They want you out of town or in jail because everybody in town, when they see a fucking homeless person walking through town, yeah, anything that they fucking misplaced in the last fucking 10 years is all your fault. Take a drink, stretch my back at the same time. Yeah, I have hours and hours and hours and hours and hours and hours and hours of exactly the behaviors that are classified as stalking from Sandy Fromm. Not just stalking, but threatening to kill many people. For somebody who has access to firearms the way that she does, that's like, well, to me, that is scary too. I know that Ted Bollinger has that access to firearms, and he's not allowed to own firearms either. I know that nothing has been done about these people or any of the things that they've been doing. But also, what can I expect? I am having to go to my predators to get help. I'm having to go to officers that broke the law to cover for their fellow officers and for themselves, obviously, because they're breaking the law to do something. Now, there's a whole bunch of evidence that I did turn into the police already here in town. And hopefully that'll be enough to get a conviction against Sandy. Hopefully that'll be enough to get her the help that she needs. And, of course, we do need to think about the victim in this, and that is Tobe Smith. Tobe Smith is the victim. He's not a coward for being victimized. He is not a pussy for being victimized. He shouldn't be told to just man up. This woman is a fucking psycho. And thank goodness he only has to deal with one, but isn't one bad enough? Does Tobe Smith have a legit reason to be afraid of Sandy Fromm? Well, let's think about this. First of all, she is an alcoholic. All right? Second of all, she is obsessed with Tobe Smith. Third of all, she is obsessed with sex. Fourth, she wants to know where Tobe Smith is at all points in time. Yeah. In those recordings that I gave to the cops, is her threatening to kill Tobe Smith. That's in there. I have a lot more. I have a whole fucking lot more. We'll see if the Dual County Sheriff's Department is actually willing to do something for Tobe Smith. Tobe Smith has the advantages that I don't. Tobe Smith has a house, and he has community support. And rightly so, he's a good man. Just as Jeff Baldridge is a good man, Gary Jepson is a good man. Good men. Brandon Ratner is also a good man. Of that fact, there is no fucking goddamn doubt. That man deserves a safe place of his own as much as I fucking do. For him, his safe place would have to make room and allow for his fucking family. But also, I consider Brandon family. I consider him broken family. That's different. That's a lot different, those of you who know what that is. The people that I thought of as truly my family, that would be Jamie Curtis, her son, and Natalie Bollinger, and Maddie Boa. In the toughest times of my life, those are the people that did not bullshit me. The situations where they did fucked up shit to me, I understand why they did that fucked up shit. That don't make it right, though, does it? That doesn't fix it. I even said sorry for things that I didn't do. I took blame for things that were not my fault. You know, when I was in Virginia and I got stuck in the road like that, that was the first time I had been the bad guy in a long time. And I was the bad guy. Not intentionally. See, there's a difference between being righteous in your actions and going, oh fuck, oh fuck, oh fuck, oh fuck. I fucking panicked. I don't know if there's many people who could have been in that situation and not panicked. I was scared shitless for Natalie, and I had to be scared shitless for me too. But it's like, all right, you hear those fucking nut jobs that talk about the universe and the stars aligning and shit. And it was like, for an entire 6 month period of my life leading up to that, that everything that could possibly go wrong went wrong, except for Natalie and Maddie. Like meeting up with them when they wanted to meet up. I fucking tried. I mean, I didn't intentionally not meet up with them when we were supposed to. I tried. Their phones were off. I tried to keep my word. At first, she wasn't even going to go to Virginia unless she could see me. And I tried. I did. Aunt B fucking helped me to set it up with her niece. They weren't there. I had to fucking come up to the hospital and go to the hospital in Julesburg to get my heart checked out, take a stress test. They told me to take some sort of B something or other and some niacin and I don't know what else, but I told them I wasn't into taking pills, and they told me some natural foods to eat, and that's fucking useful, you know. I don't want to be mean to people. I don't. I hate it. I hate being afraid to go to the cops. I hate having to do all this shit on Facebook. I hate all of it. I just hate it. I had some GoFundMe's, and none of them worked out. People donated money, but then I didn't have any help, and I didn't get the money. I didn't know how to do the PayPal thing, and I was trying. I didn't want to do the PayPal thing without someone helping me in person, and I got enough help to make that kind of sort of work. Uh, I paid for that help, but it was worth paying for. I mean, that dude in Brush, I paid him $150 to help me set it up and show me how to do it. To show me how to do it. Like we went through it the first time, and he didn't do it for me. He didn't do it in front of me. He did all of it with me. I pressed the button. He just told me what to do, but there in person, and he could point it out to me. If I got lost on something, and with the format on my phone is different than his, so he'd have to fuck with it for a minute. But he knows what to look for, and I don't. And then once he finds it, he says, "All right, well, this is where you find it next time. Try it yourself." When it came to my listing tutorial, we listed 2 items. One of them with his help, and one of them mostly by myself. And I am very grateful for that. I'm overwhelmed with all this stuff I got to do, though. I mean, you guys got no idea how much is on my plate, and just the thought of the stuff that I have to go through to even get a court date about the harassment that I had to deal with just yesterday. It's phenomenal. And we're talking about 4 years of this. It did get a lot worse after Natalie died, but that's because it was all over the news and the slander was listened to, and I wasn't. People were calling everything on my Facebook spam so that I couldn't fucking speak. Mostly they were doing that with important evidence that proved I was telling the truth, and that was fucked up. Thank goodness Facebook destroyed that, right? Thank goodness Facebook destroyed that evidence before changing that algorithm. Thank goodness a lot of those predators just continue to do those things over and over and over again. There comes a point when two people have an issue and there is an impasse. Natalie just didn't understand, and I didn't have the technical abilities to show her the truth. So it was just my word versus theirs. Meanwhile, they had been predatory to her, and I hadn't. I still don't understand why I can't just go and see my loved ones in Boulder, Colorado. I don't understand why I can't just go see my older brother just because I fucking love him. I don't understand why all these people made me tell their stories. I shouldn't have had to. A lot of people, they didn't want to come forward for some very good reasons. And those very good reasons I spoke up about. I did everything I could to show the truth. Change your phone number, change your phone number. That doesn't stop it. That just prevents me from showing evidence of the fact that this shit is still happening. The people are willing to do these things, and not all of them are willing to do it just on the internet. There are people who are willing to do it in real life because they were sold a narrative that's a lie. There are people who would literally hunt me down and kill me because I was not allowed an honest day in court. Because I wasn't allowed to show in court and to the public for whom I was painted as a boogie monster. When you destroy somebody's name in public the way that they did, that person does need protected. None of this excuse making bullshit for harming people. The term mentally ill needs to be stricken. It needs to be stricken from all legal records. It needs to be stricken from all laws. It is a hate word. No matter how you may think that you mean it, it is a hate word. That word is used to kill people. It's used to sway public opinion so that victims will never be heard, to make them a target of lunatics' hatred. Sandy Fromm expected a particular outcome in her court dates and in her court cases. I told her I would speak out, and I did. The other thing is, although Officer Hahn is a douche, I also recorded her admitting that she was drinking and driving. I recorded her in the fucking act of drinking and driving. There's a reason I got in that fucking vehicle. It's so that all of these people who think that I'm the goddamn boogeyman, who's out to rape their children and put their heads on fucking posts in my yard. I don't want Sandy Fromm, the goddamn alcoholic stalker hose beast, running them over. That's what I spent my birthday doing, making sure Sandy Fromm didn't run anybody over by driving for her. And on my birthday, yes, it is recorded just like every single recording with her. Every single one mentions Tobe Smith. She threatened to kill Tobe Smith because he called the sheriff. He was right to call the fucking sheriff. Tobe Smith locks his doors and keeps them locked at all times. If he has company over, he locks the door behind them. He has no defense against Sandy Fromm. If he's got to get up out of his chair in the living room and go find a firearm while she's breaking in, yeah, he's not going to have the ability to do so. He's going to end up dead. I also have it recorded Sandy Fromm admitting to breaking into his house. How far gone do you have to fucking be, lady? But like with many women, it is encouraged. And yes, I have recorded people in person encouraging these behaviors from Sandy Fromm. People who say they don't want the drama encourage these behaviors out of Sandy Fromm. And I recorded that too. Tobe Smith, I know you, I love you, and I got you. I don't care if we're on the same page. I don't care if we're on the same team. I don't care if we agree or disagree. What I care about is that Sandy Fromm needs to leave you the fuck alone. You shouldn't have had to call the cops. Your friends should not be encouraging for Sandy Fromm doing these things. It shouldn't be a laughing matter to your guy friends. And although a lot of them talk shit because you don't talk to them anymore, you're right not to talk to them, dude. You're absolutely fucking right not to talk to them. They're not going to say that shit to your face. Sandy Fromm is a grown goddamn adult. She does know right from wrong. I didn't just record that shit from her. I also recorded it from witnesses. And I probably ought to go back through my recordings, although there are a great many hours of them. A lot to go through just in the Sandy Fromm situation. Women can be predators too, and often are, and often get away with it. When men go in, it's not investigated. When a fucking psycho like her, if she wanted to go in and pretend like Tobe Smith was some sort of a big fucking hassle who was making her life hell, they would probably help her, even knowing that she's a fucking nut job. But the other way around, I mean, She's still driving around drunk. Still. She's still got little kids at her fucking house. Sorry, not little kids. Minors is the right word to use. She's in trouble for contributing to the delinquency of a minor. Apparently, it was a vape pen. I recorded that shit because I was tired of people calling me mentally ill and using it as an excuse for the fucking horrible shit that they did. I was tired of people making it my word versus theirs because I didn't have the ability to record it. I learned how to record it, motherfucker. You should have seen that fucking coming. A lot of people took advantage of the fact that I didn't know how to take screenshots. Well, I learned how to do that too, didn't I? You should have seen that coming. When you stabbed me in the back, I showed why. You should have seen that coming. And Sandy Fromm, when you decided that you were going to stalk and threaten to kill somebody that I give a lot of a fucking shit about, you fucked up. You fucked up big. Me and Toby don't have to agree on shit for me to know that what you are doing to him is fucking wrong, you fucking psycho. You aren't forced to do this. You aren't forced into homelessness, Sandy. You don't have this shit all over the fucking news worldwide. You don't have people cursing at you and threatening to fucking kill you in languages you can't even pronounce the fucking name of. Sandy, you're a fucking predator. Straight up. And the fact that fucking people encourage this in women is absolutely sickening. That you encourage it and think it's fucking funny. Like when Christopher Tapp got beaten up by his wife. You got beat up by a girl. You got beat up by a girl. You're damn right he did. What would have happened if he'd have knocked her bitch ass the fuck out after punch number 30 or 50 or 90? She hit him for a long fucking time. And he's not easy to bruise. I can testify to the fact that that dumb motherfucker got himself stuck, wedged underneath a fucking minivan because he wanted to go around the corner real fucking quick down the parking garage as fast as he wanted to. He was drunk. And guess what? He was cut from one end to the other. He was scraped and had the nastiest fucking road rash that you can get not being on a fucking motorcycle. Not a single fucking bruise on him. Just blood. And I saw him for the next few days after that. He never bruised up. Too much fucking iron in his blood. So yeah, when she beat on him for fucking half an hour and had to take a fucking break in there. She literally had to take a break. Matt was there in the room watching this. He says, yeah, dude, she had to fucking stop. She couldn't flail her arms anymore. She could barely lift them. That's self-inflicted. Plus, she was donkey hitting. That's where you use this part of your hand. Boom, boom, boom. Like Tito Ortiz. I'm sure you guys have seen that. His signature knockout move. Oh, yeah. Tammy wasn't dumb. She knew what to do. She knew how to hurt him. She also knew that he was going to fucking take it. Just like she had taken years and years and years of verbal abuse. She knew that Christopher Tapp would never, ever hit a woman. ever, under any circumstances. But after she got done hitting him, he's the one that got arrested. Me and Christopher Tapp are not on good terms. But the fact is, the police in that situation were predatory. Tammy herself told me on more than one occasion that the police fucking intimidated her. Do you know how fucking scary that is for him? He spent years in prison because his ex-wife was intimidated into lying. She didn't want to do it, but they wanted Christopher bad. So here's the thing about our heroes down there, every one of them. The police hate the homeless heroes the most because they do the most good. They fight for justice, while most of the homeless are cowards hiding in fear. There are people like Mobley, and people like Rabbit, and people like me, and people like Christopher Tapp, and most of us done tapped out a long time ago. I can't tap out. I'm not allowed. Everything in my life worth living for was taken from me because I wasn't allowed to defend myself. Because no matter who I went to, they just didn't help. They didn't understand. They wanted to tell me how to think and how to feel and tell me those pretty words that you guys love so much. I'm going to tell you what, telling Tobe Smith to love himself is not going to prevent her from having a fucking psycho meltdown while she's drinking tequila and driving drunk over to his fucking house with a fucking gun that she does have in the house. She has several. She might have near a dozen. But that's not a joke. She does have a lot of them. There's nothing to stop her from straight up fucking murdering Tobe Smith. Nothing at all. In my recordings, the ones that the sheriff has, in those recordings, it's got a bunch of Sandy Fromm. And it's got a bunch of the other witnesses. I don't trust Sheriff Scott Costa to do his job. Matter of fact, I wholeheartedly expect him to go harass the witnesses and try to trump up charges on them. I tell everybody, hey, if you're going to hang out with me, you need to keep it fucking clean. People want to fucking smoke weed and then put their roach out in the ashtray in their car. I'm like, hey, man, if you're being friends with me, you might not want to do that. The cops don't like me, and a lot of people don't like me because of what the cops did and what the Bollingers did and what the media did. You might not want to fucking stick your roach in that ashtray. You might want to either eat it or never bring it out of your house to begin with. But we'll see. There is definitely enough there for a conviction. There's enough there to show long term, very long term, that she is obsessed with it. See, the scenario that I had to deal with was me being abused and being treated like I could not possibly be a victim because I have a penis. I got treated like no woman would ever possibly do these things, and Sandy Fromm is a real live female fucking psycho. Am I afraid of Sandy Fromm? Nope. If she shows up to shoot me in the head, I'm fine with it. Just too bad that I wouldn't be here to say thank you to her for doing so. Nobody wants to do anything about the real psychos. They just need somebody to blame. somebody to take their frustration and aggression out on. It's easy to get away with. I did everything that I could even think of to try to get law enforcement to do something. People told me, hey man, fucking if you do this, you'll get red flagged. If you do that, you'll get red flagged. Hey man, the government will fucking arrest you if you do this or that. If that's the only way that I have to fucking try to force them to look at that shit after making all those calls and everything, well, fuck. That shit ain't even right. It ain't. It ain't right that I got to deal with Sandy Fromm. It ain't right that Natalie's death drove a wedge between me and Tobe. And even if that wedge is there forever, Sandy Fromm needs to be fucking dealt with. And when I say dealt with, I'm not talking about fucking shooting her. I know there's a lot of you who are gonna fucking try to grossly reinterpret that and go, well, you're menacing. No, the fuck I'm not. I'm saying that she is a danger to Tobe Smith. Outright no joke. Bar none. She is fucking on one. So me and Tobe Smith have a mutual predator in common. I feel like I'm gonna puke. I didn't know how to do all this stuff before Natalie died, and I wasn't able to help myself as a result of it. But now that I know how to do these things, I can do them for others. I can speak up for others. And you know what? I shouldn't have to fucking hide this shit. Tobe Smith offered to do some pretty fucking heinous stuff. He already knew that going to the cops was pretty much fucking useless after everything that they had done. And with him knowing the people that he knows, well, I could have gone a different route. I could have gone a different route and kept my hands clean, or rather, wiped my hands clean of it. One thing about Tobe Smith, he don't fucking like child molesters. You keep your goddamn nasty cock beaters to yourself. That ain't no joke. He's just a little past his prime. I don't mean that as an insult. I mean it as the truth. The guy had a stroke. And you know, when he had to deal with that fucking psycho fucking stalking him, yeah, his friends were fucking encouraging her, and that's just not cool. Those aren't friends. Look at all the people that encourage this behavior and all of these Natalie Bollinger groups. Look at all the people that encourage this behavior, encourage these bullies, trying to fucking push them into a frenzy, try to get a lynching to happen. Of course, you know me. if you say you're going to kill me, you've got 3 days before I go to the police. And I'm not going to the police because you threatened to kill me. I'm going to the police because you didn't keep your word, you fucking coward. Merry Christmas.